I just want to say thank you for Carla and Sylvia and just some great friends of ours, and Brandon and also Glenn. Our kids used to go to the school here. I love the leadership of the school, but we moved a little bit further in Orange County, so we had to move. But one of my favorite authors, John C. Maxwell, says leadership is about influence. It's nothing more and nothing less. And if you're thinking about this, during this crazy time that we're in, the COVID-19 pandemic, it's very hard to influence others. I think you would agree with me on that. And how do you influence people when you're just staring at the camera most of the time? Well, I've been with this company for the last 15 years. For the last 15 years, the majority of my meetings, speaking engagements are with people, face-to-face with people, face-to-face with clients, one-on-one with people, just face-to-face most of the time. And all of a sudden, 2020 hit. We're not supposed to meet anymore. We're not meeting our clients home anymore. We're not even going to the office anymore. I mean, you talk about the financial service industry as a whole, insurance and financial service industry as a whole, you're meeting with people all the time. So I just believe that we got to adapt as a whole. So I remember going into this pandemic, back in March, we had this emergency sales meeting with our group of people and say, look, we got to start adapting to this Zoom meeting. There's a reason why Zoom stock's up 500% in the last 12 months, because more of us need to understand how to engage with people in social media and, just do things a little bit differently. So I got a few things I want to share with you guys, how I was able to transition my agency to a total virtual agency, not just myself, but with the whole 250 of us as a whole, right, as an entire agency. How do we move from a virtual, from a face-to-face meeting to a virtual meeting? First things first, I think, we all got to adapt. We got to make a decision. I think the first step that all of us need to make is to make a decision that this is the new norm. Oftentimes I hear from some of my guys and top leaders from before, they were saying, you know what, I just can't wait to get back to normal. I just can't wait to get back to how we used to be. I just can't wait to have the new vaccine or this and all that. And I have to stop right there and say, look, you got to first things first accept that this is the new norm. This is the new norm. This is where we're at right now. This is 2020. Make a decision that this is the new norm. This is how we engage. This is how we do meetings now. This is how we talk to people. This is a public speaking event with few of us social distancing. You understand that when I was used to speaking to 10 and 20,000 people, this is with 10 people. This is the new norm. So no more talking about, I want to get back to the office. I want to wait for things to get back to normal. Accept the fact that this is the new norm. Number two, you got to learn and adapt. You got to learn and engage. Think about this educational. I'm speaking to a school now, but education is completely different in 2020. Education is mostly virtual. Education is self-taught. Education is a lot of YouTube videos. So, how do I learn about engagement? Well, just give you some stats. Year to date, our company's growth over 23% in production and sales. All virtual meetings, go from a whole bunch of one-on-one meetings the last 15 years to moving 90% virtual meetings, and our company grew about 23% year to date. Well, first things that we got to learn and master is to learn how to be a YouTuber. This is something that I told my agency. I was like, hey, look, you got to just start YouTubing YouTubers. Start looking at the YouTubers, like how to become a better YouTuber. You Google how to become a better YouTuber. The information that we're given right now in 2020, it's so much, it's massive. We can learn how to do certain things, anything, mostly anything, right? Just by Googling. How to become a better speaker. How to become a better YouTuber. How to get more engagement in social media. How to do some of these things. Whatever you type in how to, feeds it back to you. Well, you know what? Your brain is kind of the same way. Your brain is like, when you say how to do things better, your brain will give you an answer. But if you say, why are things so bad right now? Why are things so, it's horrible, the layoff and this. And, a lot of my guys are telling me like, I worry about the student this year, 2020 students. And I'm like, look, my clients and my friends are like, what are you worried about? I'm talking to a Christian school, but I'm a Christian myself. But God gave his toughest battle to the strongest soldiers. And I think you will believe that. I mean, we all adapt. We all learn how to become better. But you got to be prepared for these things. So these are some of the tips that I got to get better sales, better engagement, better influence via camera. Number one, you got to be prepared for it, is to have a camera, have an equipment. You got to look into the camera. When you do interviews nowadays, I hire so many people just through the camera nowadays. But you got to look into the camera, not looking everywhere else. How you position Zoom, how you position the camera makes overall the difference. So, if you look at this right now, I usually have a camera right in front of me. The position between the head, the camera, and the lighting, right, that makes a world of a difference. You got to have eye contact. So the eye contact from before, I just caught myself doing that earlier. This is the first time of me speaking in front of the public a very long time. But I caught myself looking at the audience. Now you got to look at the camera. So when you're on camera, when you're on Zoom, most of the time you look at the faces. But no, from now on, you got to start looking at the cameras, because just think about this. Looking at the camera versus looking everywhere else, it's completely different, just from a public speaking standpoint. And one of the most important things that I have all of my agents do, you never, ever, 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 ever mute your camera. This is the best thing that we got right now. This is the most face-to-face that as we can be. Imagine that we shut this camera out right now, and you have a background or a poster or just a profile picture. We're no different than just talking on the phone. It's not a meeting. So you got to make sure that you turn your camera on in this thing. This is stuff that I talk to my agency about. You got to have a camera on, and you got to dress for success. You got to be prepared for this thing, because you got to treat every meeting, because engagement, every meeting like it's your last meeting. You got one shot. You got one chance. You got one chance, one shot to engage with the person, the prospect, the hiring manager, right in front of you. You're going to an interview for the first time. You got to prepare for this. Is your last meeting, right? Lighting's got to be right. You got to be groomed. You got to be, clean shaved. Everything else, I don't know what it is. You got to make sure that you get after this thing 2020. So anyways, appreciate your time, and thank you.